Hey, welcome into the Wolfman Gardening Channel. Today, I've been asked, hey Wolfman, where are we at on our peppers? I know you planted the peppers way back when you planted the tomato seeds, and where are we at on them? Well, it's a good thing you asked, because today we are going to transplant what peppers we have into their own 3 and 4 inch pots. Let's get started. Alright, here we go. We've got our peppers, and if you'll remember, we charted them so we know which one is which. We got our containers, and we got our 5:1 mix ratio. Remember, we're mixing 5 parts potting soil with 1 part perlite and 1 part vermiculite. So let's get these labeled, and we'll get these ready to start transplanting, and let's get to it. Alright, here we go. Remember, we're gonna label our containers, and we got it as P-bell, which is the purple bell. That's the one we're gonna start with. In this little diagram here, it shows us it's in row 2. So we'll match it to the row 2 here. Alright, once you get them labeled, you know which one you're gonna go to. We're going to do the same thing that we did when we were doing transplanting our tomato plants, except for one little difference. We'll come in the back side here, come in behind it, we're going to pop this thing up, and it should do pretty much the same as what our tomato plants did. The only difference is the tomato plants we buried all the way to the very end of these leaves. These here, we're only going to bury them we're only going to cover like maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of that stem. If you cover it too much, this thing will die out. So we're going to do the same thing as we did with the plants. Make you a nice little hole there. Let's try to roll this a little bit. Get some of these roots separated just a little bit. Give us a little room here. And once we get it like so, we're going to try to separate these out just like we did our tomatoes. Trying to be gentle enough with them that you're not ripping all the roots out. But let's get a little better view here of what we're doing. So there's 4 bell peppers in this little thing. There's one nice little root ball out. And there's another one we got. Now once you get them loosened up, like I said, now we're going to drop this down in here, like so. Remember, being careful, we're not going to bury it. We're not going to bury it too deep. You don't want to go all the way up to the stem up here. Remember, we're only going to about a 1/4 inch over what the root ball, or what the root is right now, or where the soil was touching the dirt. And that's all right there. That's good enough. And see how flimsy that is? Once we get this under some grow lights and get a fan blowing on it, this thing will stouten right back up. Do the same thing with the next one. So like I said, most of these are pretty much this, they do them the same as you do with your tomato plants, except one thing. The one thing that we're not doing is we're not burying them all the way up. These right here are not like tomato plants. These will not grow roots wherever it touches, and that is it. That is the only difference between them. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish this row, see how many of the purple bells we can get, and then we'll end up doing each row the same way. And we'll also, remember these are the ones that we made. These are all the jalapeno peppers that we put in these little peat pods, and we're going to separate these out as well. Right now You can see they just have the two leaves. A lot of these don't have the true leaves coming up. We've got one or two that actually have, you can see that one right there actually almost has a true leaf coming in. And once we get the true leaves coming in, like these here, you can see these have the two starter leaves plus the two true leaves, and that's why we're transplanting these. You can always, if you're just going to grow one or two plants, say you just want a couple of bell pepper plants, you can take and seed 2 or 3 bell pepper plants in this one. And each one of these, say if you wanted 2, you could take 3 of these pots and plant, say 3 seeds in each one. And then if you had 2 or 3 seeds come up, then you could just trim the 2 worst ones and leave one in it and leave it in this pot. So you can start them out in the bigger pots if you're not doing as many as I am. But when you're, like I said, when you're growing as many, like me, I'm going to grow several of these. I'll keep 1 or 2 and then I'll probably sell the rest of them. And that's the reason why I'm growing so many, is to reclaim and resell some of these, to give other people an opportunity that don't want to seed, don't want to spend the time seeding. Whatever it is that your garden style, whatever your means are, you could take 1, 2, or 3 foot grow light and you could grow almost your entire garden in that. If you're just growing for yourself and you're only doing 1 or 2 plants, you know, doing all these different varieties and planting multiple per cell. That's why I decided to do what I do, is so I can get more seed starts started in a small area, and then once they, like I said, once they get their true leaves on, then I can separate them out. Okay, and there we have it. 1 row right through here, and we got 18 of these purple bells. Alright, let's take a look and see how well. These are the purple bells. These are the poblanos. And I don't remember what these are. I think these are the mild jalapenos. They're doing really, really well. Of course the tomatoes are too, but. And then we have all of these here, which is more poblanos and some serranos. And hot jalapeno bells, which I just transplanted last week maybe. So they've only been in here for a week. So the little update on them, they're doing very well. They survived the transplant. So I hope you learned something today on transplanting your pepper seedlings. It is not as hard as what some people say it is. Yeah, you got to be a little careful with the stems. The stems are real finicky, easy to break. But like I said, if you loosen that soil up enough, and they usually separate pretty good. And remember, the one big thing is don't put too much of the stem down in the soil or it'll kill the transplant. So like, comment, share this video, and if you haven't done it already, hit that little bell notification. It lets you know anytime I put a video on. And like always, keep it growing.